Hi, I'm Marty Mosley, President of Priority One Publishing. From the day our ministry launched the Total TV Network, we've aimed to produce creative and relevant shows for youth groups and adult Bible study classes. This year, we've added a new show to our lineup called On the Air. I think your young people are going to love it. Now let me tell you about another way Priority One can help your youth group. We'd like to see more young people involved in mission projects here in the States and overseas. So every year, we're going to donate a $2,500 mission trip scholarship to 3 church youth groups who are going on a mission trip outside of the United States and Canada. In addition, we're also going to donate a $1,000 mission trip scholarship to 5 church youth groups who are involved in a mission project here in the U.S. or Canada. There are more details about these scholarships in our Leader's Guide. Read all about it and then challenge your young people to get involved. I hope you enjoy today's show. And if you decide to keep these 5 episodes of On the Air, we've already enclosed an invoice for your convenience. If we haven't heard from you in 30 days, well, we'll assume you decide to keep the series, and then we'll bill you accordingly. Now back to the Total TV Network.
Hey, I'm Michael, and up next on the Total TV Network, a new episode of On the Air. We're all guilty of it. We've all played it. What am I talking about? The blame game. You still don't know what I'm talking about. You will.
Wake up! You're watching Total TV.
Hey, I'm Tommy, and this is my friend Marissa.
What's a friend?
What?
You said my friend Marissa.
I did not. Hey, I'm Tommy, and this is my friend Marissa. Okay, you distracted me.
I did not.
Yeah, you did. You poked me when I was about to say
Oh, you're crazy.
No, look, I've been practicing this for years, and I'm sure I would make a
years.
Okay, I've been doing it for a couple of hours. And I wouldn't make a mistake like that unless you provoked me.
Wait, provoked you? Let's just start the show, okay?
Hi, I'm Tommy, and this is Melissa.
And we're here to welcome you to the blame game.
My brother and I used to tattle on each other all the time. You know, we'd tell on each other and she'd say, Al, if you and Joe don't quit that tattling on each other, I'm going to tell your daddy when he comes.
We're hitting the streets to find people who have played the blame game. Let's go.
I blame my mom because of the way I saw her drink and I saw my dad drink and stuff, and I was like, well, if they can do it, then I can do it.
Well, I can remember one time I had all my friends over and we were drinking, and I blamed it on them for drinking because when my parents showed up, I was in deep trouble.
If I'm not doing good in the class, it's the teacher's fault. And if I don't get something in on time, it's because they're giving me too much work.
I get really frustrated if I can't get something, like if I'm in class and I don't understand. And the teacher tries to tell me and I still can't understand. I'll get mad at the teacher.
They don't make it learnable, then how am I supposed to learn it?
I was doing about 60 on the highway and the cop said I did 105. I blame him. His radar gun was wrong.
One time I was late for curfew and I told my parents that it was my boyfriend's fault.
I was having a paper due. It was Monday, you know, we had choir practice. Right. So of course I didn't get it done. And I told the teacher, I was like, well, I had choir practice, I was praising the Lord, so I couldn't come.
I lived up in the country and pretty secluded, you know, and we were pretty much to ourselves, you know, in a real small town. It was pretty much a normal life that I considered, you know. My mom just decided that she wanted to move, that she didn't want to live there anymore, and she wanted to come down here and be with her family. I didn't realize the dramatic change that, or the effect that it would have on me.
Let's go party down, Bichon Day.
It killed me. It crushed my life around me because I had to give up all my friends. I gave up the place where that I was used to, the place that I live. You know, it's a real big change moving from a quiet little town out in the country, you know, where you've got all this land, you're all by yourself, you know, to a crowded city where there's people just everywhere, and it's scary, really, you know, to make that big of a change. It made me go through a lot of emotions and feelings that just I didn't enjoy, you know, I did not like. I hated everything. I didn't think that there was a point to any of it. I had no reason, you know, like for me to go on or to live, you know. It hurt a lot. I don't know. I just didn't understand it.
He blames you for everything. I don't know what else to do.
I was real angry with her. I wouldn't accept the fact that, you know, that like she was my mother. I didn't want to have anything to do with her. I just wanted to push her away and keep her away from me because I didn't want to deal with that. Before I moved down, I had very remarkable grades, you know. I had like all A's all the time. And then I got down here, you know, and I was just so angry because of the move and angry at my mom for all the things that it seemed like were her fault. And I don't know, my grades started to slip. I started to fail a lot of classes. I didn't put the effort into it. I didn't have the heart into it that I wanted. I'd start getting in more trouble. Any problems that started to arise at school, problems I had with even my other friends outside. I didn't have anything to do with her. I'd just say it was all her fault. She's the reason. If she had never made me move down here, if she had never brought any of this on me, then I wouldn't be where I am. It's her fault. It has nothing to do with me.
I kind of understand Robert.
What do you mean?
Well, he had no control. If his mom hadn't have decided to move, then he wouldn't have had all those problems.
Well, I mean, we're all affected by things out of our control. The question is, how are you going to deal with it?
Well, here's a story about another guy who had even tougher things to deal with.
My dad, a few years ago, had a stroke and a heart attack, and so he's been paralyzed for almost 3-4 years now, and I pretty much had to become the father. You know, I never really got to do anything. I never got to go out. I never got to go, like, hang out with my friends, because I had to take care of him. I was always cooped up in the house, and that made me mad, you know, because all my friends were going out and having fun. Well, what'd you do? I sat at home and gave my dad that. I was like almost angry at the world. I always felt like nobody ever did anything for me, so it was like, you know, why should I do anything for anybody else? I felt I was denied my right to have fun. I wanted to be a kid. I wanted to have fun. And then when the curiosity of drugs started getting in, you know, I figured out, well, hey, this is one way I can have fun, you know, and not even have to go anywhere. You know, it's like they're sitting there telling me, well, you don't have much of a choice. You have to grow up. So I just said, forget it. You want a nurse, you hire a maid, you know, and I just pretty much left. I blamed my father because of his problems. I knew it wasn't his fault, you know, there was nothing he could have done about it, but still, it's his fault. You're the reason why I've been cooped up in the house so long. You're the reason why I can't go do this. You're the reason why I can't go do that. You have no right to take away my privilege to have fun. Who do you think you are? And once all that started happening, I just started taking all my anger out on them. Everything that happened to me, I just like go at it on them. Because I always had this picture of, you know, like the perfect family. You know, and like I wanted this perfect family. We didn't argue. We didn't have a whole lot of problems. Everybody got along. But I would never look at what I did. You know, because I always blamed it on them.
I didn't do it. Don't blame me. Did you see me do it? Everybody else was doing it. He did it first. The devil made me do it. Stop pointing fingers. Tell God what you've done, and he'll give you peace. And that's the word on the street.
I feel bad for Will. I mean, his whole family had a lot to deal with.
And I guess we all feel that way sometimes, you know, that bad things happen to us.
It's not our fault. We're the victims. And maybe you have problems too. Problems that are in your life or at school or home maybe. And problems that just wouldn't be your fault if everyone else had their act together.
Well, now it's time to stop the tape and talk about it. What happens to you that just is not your fault?
And what are you gonna do about it? And we'll be right back.
On the Air is brought to you by Blame Blocker. See the world through rose-colored glasses.
Why are you blaming me?
Tired of being responsible for your actions? Then get Blame Blocker lenses. Blame Blocker lenses are specially crafted to stop the harmful effects of ultraviolet rays. And best of all, you'll never be blamed for anything.
I used to get in trouble all the time,
Excuse me, ma'am, but I clocked you going at a speed of 90 miles an hour.
but not anymore.
Ooh, my mistake. Can I escort you somewhere? Maybe get you a Coke?
To order your Blame Blockers, dial 1-800-BLAME. Blame Blockers mean never having to say you're sorry again.
Thanks, Blame Blocker.
You're watching the Total TV Network.
Hey Net Surfers, Total TV is on the World Wide Web. Stop by our homepage at www.totaltv.com. You'll find all kinds of cool stuff, and you can leave us email too. So let us know what you think about our shows and give us your ideas for future programs. Stop by totaltv.com today.
Welcome back. I hope you got all your excuses and complaints out in the open.
And now it's time to get some answers. What is it, Melissa?
Well, I was gonna introduce our expert, but I can't find the card with all his accomplishments and credentials on it. Someone swiped it.
Don't look at me.
I know you took it. You just want me to look bad.
Go to jail. Go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Hey, it wasn't my fault. Welcome to the blame game, where no matter what the problem is, if you can duck out of it, you win. Let's see now. 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, puts me on beer blast. Oh no! You get caught drinking beer at a friend's house, grounded for 2 whole weeks. Wait a minute. It was just a little beer. And the light beer is that, right? I mean, besides, everybody at my school drinks. That's how the blame game works. You see, you've played it. I know you have. Maybe not with beer, but how about this one? You've just had sex with your boyfriend, and you're feeling guilty. But wait a minute. No, whoa. You didn't just have sex. You had safe sex. So it's okay. Besides, you were pressured into it. You see, when you get good at this, you don't have to take responsibility for anything. Here's another. You just ate the forbidden fruit and introduced sin into the whole world. You were bounced from the Garden of Eden and separated from God. Oh, I'm sorry. That's an old card. It's already been played.
Here we go. Listen carefully to the words. I think it really mean a lot to you. It's called The Day My Friend Broke Out of Jail. Thank you very much.
You're on the mic with Mike.
My boyfriend caught me dating another guy.
He's being selfish. You're the victim here. You're on the mic with Mike.
I hit a tree in my dad's car.
Oh, tell him you honked first. You're on the mic with Mike.
My teacher caught me cheating on a test.
Cheating, schmeating. She wants you to give the right answers, doesn't she? You're on the mic with Mike.
Mike, I think your answers are terrible. All you do is blame people.
Hey, don't blame me. I wanted to do traffic. You're on the mic with Mike.
Well, here I am again. And, excuse me, hey, ooh, I'm walking here, okay? You see, when I walk left, the camera's supposed to pan left. I'm sorry, but this really bothers me. I mean, the script clearly says pan left. I mean, how much effort does it take? How much effort does it take to read a script, huh? Here it is, right here. Segment 19, taping. That's what we're doing here. And the stage direction, pan right, written for anyone to see. Pan right? The first problem with the blame game is you make enemies. You see, when you blame someone else, you're saying they're dishonest or they're stupid, or not that I know anything about that, of course. And that can hurt your relationships, especially if you're blaming others for things that are your own fault. Right, guys?
Yeah.
You see, there's this great joke that Jesus told once. He said this, he said, how can you get a speck of sawdust out of someone else's eye while all the while there's this huge log in your own eye? I'm talking a walking sawmill here, pal, okay? Believe me. Now, that got a big laugh back in the 1st century. You see, first, he said, you remove the log from your own eye, and then you can see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. You see, if there's a problem, what have you done to cause it? If there's a mess, what can you do to clean it up? Get into the habit of owning responsibility rather than throwing blame off on everyone else, because blaming is a great way to lose friends. Like all that stuff I said about the crew earlier.
What? Hey.
Well, when I said they were like tech school flunkies, it could have made them my enemies. When I suggested that, well, that they couldn't read, well, they had every right to take that personally and just pull the plug. And real funny, guys.
When I was 6 years old, I thought that my family was perfect and we were always going to be together. And then Daddy came up and said, me and your mother are getting a divorce. And that was that. I cried, he cried, we all cried, but it didn't help any. I was angry, I was really angry because of the fact that I wasn't gonna be with both my parents at the same time ever again. It hurt. People would say I was a really happy child. On the outside, I was real bouncy and hyper, but that was outside. On the inside, I was just a scared child. Sometimes I still think I am a scared child. And from then on, things started getting worse. I blamed everything on their divorce. I ran away twice in 1995. I blamed it on that. I blamed my drug use on that. I blamed my choice of friends on the fact that I was hurt because of them getting divorced. So that was my way of getting back at them, was being a little bad girl. It made me feel a lot better because I didn't have to take the blame. I didn't have to take the responsibility. So I just blame it on everything else. I never took responsibility, ever. I did what I did, and they'd ask me why would you want to do something like that to me? Because you did it to me. It was always their fault. Never mind. Yeah, I did it, but it was because of them.
The second problem with the blame game is you don't learn from your mistakes. Tricia wasn't making mistakes, right? Her parents forced her to hang around with the wrong crowd and insisted that she take drugs. Duh. As long as you blame someone else for your problems, you never have to change. As long as Tricia blamed her parents, she could keep getting stoned and keep running away. No. You see, she had to come to the point of taking the blame. She had to say, I messed up, and I've got to change. Remember the story of the prodigal son? The guy turned 18 and said, Dad, give me my inheritance. Man, I want to live a little, and I want the money right now. Well, he lived a lot. He gambled and he partied, and he lost all his money, the Bible says, and he ended up feeding pigs for a living. Now you can imagine this guy slopping the hogs, blaming everyone else for his bad luck. The guy in the casino, he cheated me, man. I got ripped off. I mean, where's the love, man? Come on. No. Well, you know what happened to the prodigal son? The Bible said that he came to his senses. And not until verse 17 does he use the little word, I. He finally decided to quit blaming everyone else and taking responsibility for his own predicament. He went back to his dad and he used that little word he learned in the hog pen. He said, I have done wrong. So as long as your problems are someone else's fault, hey, you don't have to do a thing. Just keep complaining. Slop the hogs, O master of your own destiny. If your dysfunctional family has made you the way you are, blame them. If you have an addiction, hey, you're pretty much at its mercy. If your teachers are to blame for your poor grades, why should you even bother to study? It's only when we come to our senses, claiming personal responsibility for who we are and also for what we've done. Only then can we make things better.
So far, Neil has covered two big problems with playing the blame game. So let's take a look at a real-life example. My friend Jeff and I borrowed his dad's new video camera for a class project. Since Jeff thinks he's the next Letterman, I'm the cameraman. One small problem, I couldn't get the camera to work. No way, no how.
You touch it and break it.
Jeff freaks out. He neglected to get his dad's okay to use the thing.
We're in hot water now.
So Jeff does the manly thing. He blames me for breaking it. I mean, come on. I treated that camera better than I would treat my girlfriend. If I had one. But since he put it all on me, we don't have much to say to each other. And by blaming me for the mess, Jeff could pretend that he didn't do anything wrong. even though he did take a camera and it was his responsibility. And to top the whole thing off, we still have to do the class project together. And that's my real life example.
Okay, so when you play the blame game, you make some enemies, and you don't learn from your mistakes. One more thing, you can't receive God's forgiveness. Whoa, wait a second. God's forgiveness is free. You mean to tell me that God won't forgive me if I blame other people? I don't think so. You see, Jesus once said that healthy people don't need a doctor, just sick people. Imagine going to the emergency room. The doctor says, well, what seems to be the problem? And you say, problem? I ain't got no problem. It's my parents, man. They've got problems. You see, if you don't admit that something's wrong, the doctor can't cure you. And if you don't admit to God that you've done wrong, He can't forgive you. In the Old Testament, King David, he had an affair with the wife of one of his soldiers. Then he had her husband killed in battle. Because he was the king, you see, he was able to cover it up. Oh, isn't it a shame that he died fighting for his country? So to honor his memory, wink, wink, I will take his widow as my bride. Yeah, right. But God knew about the whole thing. And he sent the prophet Nathan to confront King David about his sin. Maybe David could have kept playing the game. Oh, not my fault, Nate. I mean, she beeped me on my beeper, and I don't know what you're talking about, man. But he didn't. Instead, he prayed to God for forgiveness. See, that's just the opposite of the blame game. Cleanse me, and I will be clean, David prayed. I got a question for you. If God never forgives you, if God never, ever cleanses you, then how are you going to get clean? You see, David realized something. He realized that he had to come clean with God about his life in order to be cleansed by God. The Bible says it this way: if we confess our sins, if we come clean with God, and that's a big if, He's faithful and just and will forgive us of all our sins and to purify us from all unrighteousness. Hey, quit the cover up. God can only deal with honest people who will be real with Him. And He'll forgive you for anything you've ever done, absolutely anything. But you have to fess up to it. Hey, the blame game, it'll wreck your relationships. It'll stunt your growth. And worst of all, it'll keep you from receiving the forgiveness that God freely offers. I've done wrong. I'm sorry. Now, is that hard to say?
I was in drugs because of, I would say, my cousin. And he'd come in with the water money, and I asked for some, and he'll say, well, why don't you do this, and then you can make your own money. So I said okay, and he hooked me up with his dealer, and I started, by him. I was on the streets, and my mom wasn't there to take care of me. And basically, I was living wherever I can live. A big struggle in my life was 3 years ago. My mom went to jail, and me and my brother was living with people that did drugs and sold drugs. And it was at one point in time where I wanted to just end it, commit suicide and all. And that's the most time I was out of control. I didn't want to live no more. I decided to just change myself because I just didn't want that life no more. I wanted a different way to go. And when I came back, I set some goals for myself to, not fall back into the same thing. So when I changed my environment with different friends, then it changed. The peer pressure is always going to be there. You can't blame that other person for what you were doing. And if you do it, then that's your own fault. If he tempted you, you took the temptation, so it's your fault. If I was on live the life of Christ, then I would have to change myself. I just stopped blaming people for it.
1 out of every 4 high school students have been offered an illegal drug. If you're offered an illegal drug and accept it, you have no one to blame but yourself.
Okay, you guys, who remembers the 3 that happened when you played the blame game?
Hope you were paying attention.
Okay, first, you make enemies.
Then you don't learn from your mistakes.
And blaming others keeps you from asking God for forgiveness.
And don't forget to pay attention to the shows that are coming up. We've got anger, racism, and a trip to Nicaragua.
All right, let's go get a Coke.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're buying, Michael.
One of y'all's buying, 'cause I bought
Hey, it's Michael again, here in Master Control at the Total TV Network. If you'd like to book Neil McClendon for your church or a youth conference, just call us here at 1-800-274-4824. See you next time.